Okay, boys, we're going to look at dividing a decimal by a decimal. So let's look at our first question, which is 0.4 divided by 0.2. So I'm going to write that down again. 0.4 divided by 0.2. Okay. Now, when you're dividing by a decimal, the first thing you must do, the very first thing, is this. You must make the second decimal a whole number by moving the decimal point to the right. Now, I've only got to move it one place to the right to make the second decimal a whole number. And I must do exactly the same thing to the first decimal. I must move the decimal point one place to the right. Okay, so that becomes 4 divided by 2. Okay, now 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. Okay, so just going over those steps again. You must make the second decimal a whole number by moving the decimal place to the right. And the number of places you move the decimal point to the right has to be the same for the first decimal as well. Okay, so we moved one place to the right here, so we have to move one place to the right in the first decimal, and so the question becomes 4 divided by 2, which is just 2. All right, let's look at the second question. 1.75 divided by 0.5. Okay, now we want to make the second decimal a whole number. So I've got to move the decimal point to the right. I've only got to move it one place and then I get the number 5, which is a whole number. Now, because I've moved it one place to the right in the second decimal, I have to do the same thing in the first decimal. So I'm going to move the decimal point there. Okay, so that means our question becomes 17.5 divided by 5. Now, what you've got to do next is then write this as a short division. So 5 into 17.5. 5 into 1 does not go, so you must link the 1 and the 7 up to become 17. 5 into 17 goes 3, put the decimal point, and the remainder of 2 goes there. Because 3 5s are 15, that means 17's got a remainder of 2 from that. Now 5s into 25 goes 5. So my final answer is 3.5. Okay, so the final answer is 3.5. All right, let's have a look at the next one. So we've got 122.4, and that is divided by 0.03. Okay, so the first step is to make the second decimal a whole number. So here's my second decimal. To make this a whole number, I have to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. Now I've got to do the same thing for the first decimal. So it's 1 and then 2. So I've got to put a 0 in the little space and the decimal point goes there. So that now becomes 1224, but with the 0 there, so that's actually 12,240 divided by 3. Okay, so just recapping that, I have to make the second decimal a whole number before I do my division, so I've got to move it 2 places to the right, and then that means I have to move the decimal in the first number 2 places to the right. Okay, so that then becomes 3 into 12,240. Now 3's into 1. You can't do that, so you've got to link up the 3 and the 1 and the 2. 3's into 12 goes 4, so I've got to put the 4 above the 2 there. 3's into 2 goes 0. I've got to link up the 2 and the 4 now. 3's into 24 goes 8. Last of all, 3's into 0 goes 0. So my answer is 4,080. That's my final answer. Okay. So, to recap those steps, is you make the second decimal a whole number by moving the decimal point. Then you must move the decimal point in the first number the same number of places. Okay, then you rewrite your division so that the second number is a whole number now, and then you work out your answer. Okay, that's it.